Morning, friends. It is leap day. It is February 29th, and I wanted to start my next reading vlog. This reading vlog is going to be Anne of Green Gables, reading and watching the Netflix series. I have never read the book before, but I have seen like the older adaptation, like the VHS tape adaptation, and I've watched all of them back in the day when I was like a kid. But this book is something that I think is so beautiful because it's part of that Puffin and Bloom editions. So I actually have 3 of them of the 4. I need to pick up one more, but I have Anne of Green Gables, I have A Little Princess, and then I also have Little Women, which was in my February book haul. So this is definitely the chunkiest. I'll stack them up like this. Yeah, so Anne of Green Gables is, you know, doesn't seem too bad. None of them seem too bad, but I definitely want to read and watch Anne of Green Gables because I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I figured, what time than now? So I will be reading this over the next day or two. It is the weekend, so hopefully I can make a dent or finish it this weekend. I do have a lot going on. I have like at least 5 or 6 errands that I need to run. I have to pick up photos for work. I have to make a return at a store. I have to go to the FedEx store. I have to go to the UPS store. I have to drop off donations. I need air in my tires. And that's not including like laundry and grocery shopping and all of the normal things that I have to do. On top of, my back bedroom is getting a disaster. I have books that need to go on the shelf. I have like work stuff that I need to sort in the correct tubs. But I'm hoping to make a dent in Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to like actually reading the story for the first time, and then after I read it, I will jump into the Netflix series. As of right now, I have watched the first season already, and I started watching the second season. I've only watched the first episode, so I've watched 8 episodes, but now all 3 seasons are out, so I'm going to start at the beginning after reading and watch all of it. So that's the plan. Stay tuned and I will let you know everything as it unfolds. Good morning, friends. I'm here with a reading update on my first read through of Anne of Green Gables. A couple of things transpired since I started this. I'm currently on page 150 and I'm enjoying it. I will say that I didn't know how many books were in the entire series. There's 8 books in the series. I thought it was like a trilogy or something like that for some reason. So I think that since there's only 3 seasons on Netflix, I don't know if they're doing a season per book or if they're kind of doing like a couple of books together per season. I do have all the names of the books. It comes in a little box set like this if you want to order it on Amazon. But it's Anne of Green Gables, which is obviously this one, which was published in 1908. Then there's Anne of Avonlea, Anne of the Island, Anne of Wendy Poplars, Anne's House of Dreams, Anne of Ingleside, Rainbow Alley, and Rilla de Ingleside. So they were published from 1908 to 1921, and I just thought that was really interesting. I remember like Anne of Green Gables and Anne of Avonlea. I don't really remember any of the other ones. And I also found out, I guess there is this Anne read-along. Let me see what it's called. I saw it on Instagram. I guess the Curly Reader here on Bookstagram and on YouTube announced it, had like an announcement video, but it's what's it called? Anne-along 2020. So this month, they started in January, so that's when they read Anne of Green Gables in January. But they're currently on Anne of the Island, this month, and yeah, I can't believe I missed her announcement video. Did I see her announcement video and forget I saw her announcement video? Anyway, okay, so I messaged her back, but that's an option out there for those that could possibly be interested. I mean, you'd have like basically 3 books to read this month, the first 3 books in the series. But anyway, I really am enjoying it, but I forgot to tell you what this book is about. So Anne of Green Gables, it's the only one I really know like a good synopsis of, but I think it just follows Anne's life, like from this book on. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that, but Anne of Green Gables follows a family living at this property called Green Gables, and they decide, they're like getting a little bit older, and they decide that they want to adopt a boy, like an orphan boy, to help Matthew on the farm, like doing more of the heavy lifting and the things that like he shouldn't really be doing at his age. So they send word to like a friend of theirs or a friend of the family or something and say, hey, you're on your way to this place, can you just go ahead and pick us up a boy? Because the other people wanted a girl, they wanted a boy, so they sent word of mouth. Then Matthew, the very opening like part is where he's going to the train station to pick up their orphan boy. Surprise, surprise, he gets there and all he finds is Anne. Somehow through word of mouth, things got twisted and they actually got a girl instead of a boy. So Matthew kind of takes to the girl right away and decides that he's gonna go ahead and take her back to Green Gables. And so on her way over to the house, the person says like, oh, this other lady wanted a girl, so this is perfect. You don't have to send her back, just hand her over to this person and then we can get you a boy. Well, the person that she was gonna give Anne over to, she didn't really like. Anne didn't really like her. And so she's like, no, I haven't decided yet. So we're going to hold on to her and we'll let you know in the next afternoon. Well, of course, they decide to keep Anne because they both kind of become entranced in this very whimsical, imaginative young girl named Anne Shirley. So they adopt her and it's just about her life at Green Gables and finally having a family that loves her, and they're trying to like raise her because she doesn't do things how they think that normal children should or would. So it's just about her adventures and making friends and going to school and becoming a part of this family and all of that. So it's just really lovely and really wholesome and really fun. And I'm really enjoying it. So that's Anne of Green Gables in a nutshell, as far as I can tell. And yeah, I plan to continue reading this, obviously, but I don't know how they split up the Netflix series. Hi friends, I'm here with a reading update for Anne of Green Gables. I am making progress. I'm currently on chapter 24, which is page 263, and there has been a definite passage of time. Anne Shirley has been with the Cuthberts for a year now plus, and she's made new friends. She has some friends at school, and now there's a new teacher, there's a new pastor, and it's all so lovely. I definitely think this is a wholesome classic, but yeah, I feel like not like too much happens in this. And I remember feeling like in the Netflix series the first time I went through it, it did like it hit all of the main plot points and stuff like that. So I'm going to be very interested once I finish reading this and start watching that series again, because like I said, I'll probably only watch like rewatch the first season. I'm coming to you guys with an update. It is Thursday, March 5th, and I completed Anne of Green Gables. I'm rating the story 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a great story about Anne going to live with the Cuthberts and just seeing her grow up and make friends and like come into her own. I'm quite surprised with like how the pacing was done in this. I didn't really appreciate how fast certain times went. It went really slow sometimes, and then it sped through like some things. I do like the overall story. I like the characters. I think you really get a good sense of the characters and the world of Green Gables and just the times. But I didn't like the passage of time, and I didn't like the over description. I think it fit the character of Anne, but I just thought it was like always overdone, and I don't know. I couldn't really understand how descriptive it actually was. Hi friends, it's Friday. Thank goodness, because I am so tired, sick, stuffy, post-nasal drip, sinuses are inflamed. Like, it's just not a good day. However, I wanted to update you on Anne of Green Gables. I did finish it last night. I tried to have coherent thoughts when I like explained my feelings. Basically, I like the overall story. However, even though that the characters and the world was done well, I think the plotting and pacing of the story was off, and the over description was just too much for me personally. But it is a classic and I enjoyed it, and I'm very excited that I moved on to, I'm rewatching the first season of Netflix now that I have actually read the book, because I was just basically going off of my love from way back in the day when I watched the VHS tapes. But I watched like literally 5 minutes. I was gonna watch an episode because my husband and his friend went out, but by the time I sat down and turned it on, he was already back. So I was like, oh. So it opens up, and the characters like of Marilla and Matthew, the actors that play them, are so perfect. I mean, like, beyond perfect for the role, especially Marilla. Like, that is exactly the character explained in the book. It's just crazy. And it opens up with them in their house, and he's getting ready to go to the train station to pick up their orphan, which they think is a boy, but when he gets there, it's Anne. But anyway, it was basically just, he was getting dressed. They went in and they had like lunch or something, and then he was leaving in the carriage, and he goes by like their neighbor's house, and she sees him, and that was where I stopped it. But I know that, and then she goes over and talks to Marilla and gets the scoop that they're getting this orphan and such. So it was just like the characters fit the descriptions so well, and I'm already more intrigued, and I already only watched like 5 minutes. Okay, I have a little update on the Netflix series Anne with an E. I've finished the first episode, and I thought that the actors cast as Marilla and Matthew were excellent. I love the character, or the actor that plays Anne, and it follows so closely to the book. There's direct lines, direct scenes. Everything is playing out how it did in my head, from the cherry tree to like how Anne talks, and even things that aren't like direct quotes from the book really fit like the vibe. There are some slight additions, like I said, but they 100% fit the story and the vibe. Now the actor that plays Rachel Lynde, their neighbor, she wasn't like super casted like the other 3 were, but I think that character will grow on me. yeah, so it was just really great. Now, at the end of the first season, the whole amethyst brooch thing comes into play. And if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. Now, the outcome of that situation is handled very differently in the book versus in the TV show. In the book, Marilla finds it. I think she sends Anne to her room. I just read the book and I can't even remember, but I'm pretty sure she just sends Anne to her room until she is going to say like she did it or whatever, and then she comes out with a story that, you know, she lost it and all of this. But she didn't like send Anne back to the orphanage. In the Netflix series, however, they send Anne back to the orphanage. Then she finds the brooch like as she's putting laundry like up in her room, and Anne never took it. She was telling the truth, and they send Matthew to go after her, and that's how the whole like second episode plays out. In the beginning is that Matthew's going after Anne, but she's already like been dropped off at the train station, and she's kind of gone several different places, and he finally met up with her, thank goodness, and she has been brought back to Green Gables. Hey friends, I'm here with an update on the Netflix show. I believe I'm currently on episode 6. I've been writing some notes here just about the different episodes. Episode 1, Matthew, Marilla, and Anne, the casting is perfect. Rachel Lynde, their neighbor, is okay. Like the casting, I think it could have been a little bit better, but she is definitely growing on me. The plot follows closely to the book with direct lines. There's some slight additions, but it overall fits the vibe perfectly. Now, at the very end of episode 1, the brooch storyline comes into play. Marilla has this really special brooch, and she thinks Anne took it and tells Anne to confess, and Anne does, like, even though she really didn't take it, and because she thinks that will make them, you know, she'll be forgiven and she'll be able to stay. But how it's handled in the show is very different. So in episode 2, the brooch storyline continues with, like I said, it's very different from the book. And the church so when she finally gets back to Green Gables, there's like a church community picnic, and all the children and even adults are making fun of Anne and the fact that she's an orphan. In the book, all of Anne's classmates love Anne. So that was really weird that they chose to like pick on her and make her seem other and an outcast. And then also in the show, Matthew and Marilla have Anne take their Cuthbert name by signing in the family Bible, which I thought was so sweet. Episode 3, more liberties are definitely being taken at this point. Anne helps another family, and in the book, she helps the family because like one of the younger siblings is sick and she knows the remedy. But in the show, there's a house fire, and Anne realizes that the windows and doors are open, which is helping spread the fire. So she rushes into the house and closes all the doors and windows, and the fire, you know, starts dying out. This is the episode that Gilbert calls her carrots, and she bashes him over the head with her slate, and she quits school because of how she's, how the teacher punished her. Now, in the book, Marilla confers with Rachel, and they say she doesn't want to go back. Like, don't make her. She'll go back on her own. In the show, Marilla makes Anne go back to school, and Anne lies and pretends to, and then, like, a whole series of events have happened. She doesn't end up actually going back until after the fire incident, when she then returns to school because she thinks she has 2 friends now, because one of the girls of the fire incident came to stay with the Cuthberts during that time. Episode 4, Anne gets her menstrual cycle for the first time, and she doesn't realize like what it is. So I like that they included that, because like the age range of Anne in the story and in the movie, like she's at the time that, you know, young girls usually do that. So I like that they include it in the show, and I wonder why they didn't include it in the book. Probably because when it was written, it was one of those like secretive things, not talked about things. This is also the episode where she invites Diana to tea, and where there's the red cordial incident. Again, it's handled a little bit differently. In the book, only Diana drinks the cordial, and she sends her home, and her mom realizes she's drunk. In the show, they both drink it, they're both drunk, and things go from there. Episode 5 is when she gets her puffed sleeves. Also throughout, like, we're seeing Gilbert's backstory, and he's the character that Anne always like pits herself against in school to be like the top student, and the one that called her carrots and all of that. But there's kind of like a little crush going on. Like, I think he likes Anne, and Anne's trying to ignore that because one of the other girls likes him. But we get to see much more of like his backstory and like a little bit behind his character, which I enjoy. So there are definitely liberties taken. Some things are out of order. I think the first episode was like so close to the book, and then like slowly but surely they just started like kind of going their own direction. I will say that the vibe is very much the same, and the feeling is very much the same. But some things are obviously changed because they have that liberty. Hi friends, today is the last day of the reading and watching Anne of Green Gables project, I will say, because it's been a while. It took me a while to read this book, but I'm really glad I did. I ended up rating it 3 out of 5 stars just because there were things I liked about it, things I didn't. But overall, it's just like a really nostalgic story, and like the watching experience was also very nice, especially rewatching it after reading the book. So I have completed watching the first season, and about the end of the episode 6 and episode 7 of season 1, I thought that that was going to be like the natural conclusion to the story here, without Anne going to the higher education school. However, the bank thing happened, and then I guess they handled the Matthew situation a little bit differently. I appreciate what the Netflix series did as far as backstories for characters, Matthew, Marilla, and Gilbert, and some of the other like side characters. You get to know a little bit more than you do in this story. So they definitely took liberties outside of the book, like usually book movie adaptations of books do. But yeah, overall it's just been a really great experience, and I highly recommend the book, and I highly recommend the Netflix series. I do plan to continue on, but I just don't know if I'm gonna find that like final episode that really like encompasses this story, especially because they've taken so many liberties towards the end of the season. But I'm still enjoying it. I still think it fits in the world. But yeah, so let me know what you thought if you've read like both the book and watched the Netflix series, but I highly recommend both. But that's all for today's video. I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you're having a lovely day or night, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye!